Like life and death, moon and sun, it's sure to each the piper comes. And while God and Goddess give for free, down below there will be fees. Despite perfect love and perfect trust, there's no way around it. Cash is a must. We've sought within, but come up short. So we come to thee, your help to court. If you would aid this temple's life, a $3 donation would be nice. Remember well that gifts when sent return threefold of what was spent. But if you can't, well, blessed be. We shall survive, so mote it be.
Merry meet and welcome to week 32 of Wicca, A Year and a Day in Magic. I'm Lady Neptes, and this week we'll be learning all about banishing and binding magic, and the ethics of these types of magic. Now first, we're going to speak about banishing magic. Now, here's a disclaimer. Make sure you're banishing something that you are 100% sure you want gone. No wishy-washy feelings, or what-ifs, or buts, period. You have to make sure that you are 110% wanting this person, thing, or habit, or whatever it may be to be banished, because a good banishing spell is irreversible. Now, you could use banishing magic not only to banish harmful people from your life, but also emotions or bad habits. Although emotions are natural and a part of our everyday lives, sometimes we need a little push to move on. You can banish sadness, sorrow, or even sickness. Do you have an addiction? You can banish that too. Well, banishing magic can help you move on from a terrible relationship, or it can be used for bullies. Now with banishing magic, here's where ethics come into play. Remember the Wiccan rede. Harm none when doing your banishing magic spells. Ask yourself before you even start to do a spell, will this harm me or will it harm somebody else? If the answer is even a slight yes, or maybe, or even a definite yes, do not do the spell. You cannot afford the karmic retributions that spell will place on you. But if the spell is not going to be harmful to yourself or to the other person, say if you're dealing with a bully and it'll be better for the bully to stop, and it's better for you, of course, for the bully to stop, then go ahead and do the spell. Or if you're in a bad relationship and you're not getting along with your partner and your partner's not getting along with you and you're just stuck in a rut, a banishing spell would also work for that. And a banishing spell would work for the emotions involved with the relationship and ending that negative relationship. Now an example of banishing magic would be to take a picture or a drawing of somebody, or if you have a bad habit, take that item which is your bad habit, say it's smoking, and you grab a packet of cigarettes, and you take that picture or that habit and you bury it away from your property or house. Now, you can also banish negativity if it's too overwhelming for a normal cleansing with sage or incense or even crystals. Now, herbs to use in your banishing spells are birch, cinnamon, liverwort, hazel, garlic, frankincense, sandalwood, rosemary, willow, and witch hazel. Now on to binding magic. Now, binding magic works in two ways. Either you could use binding magic to tie something to you, or you could use binding magic to keep something away from you. However, you need to keep free will in mind. If your binding spell, say, involves your lover and you, make sure they know about your binding spell that you place upon them and that they're okay with it ahead of time. Now, you can also bind physical objects to you, such as a book that you want to loan out and that you definitely want to get back, or a family heirloom. Now, you can also bind yourself from doing certain things, such as last week, remember me saying that you could bind yourself from using your credit card. Binding spells utilize wax or fabric dolls and ribbons, or even cords, and remember, not harming the image, because that would be harming yourself or the person that the image is for. Now, once your binding spell is complete, or you feel like it's done its job, say to bind yourself from an addiction, if you haven't already done a banishing spell, or you feel like you need to do a binding spell on top of the banishing spell to block yourself from people or places that may influence your addiction, you would take the figure and unbound it and roll it into a ball, if it's made of clay, or you would bury it. Now, herbs that are used in binding spells are dragon's blood, myrrh, St. John's wort, and comfrey. Now, binding and banishing magic is used to further yourself along in your life path and to remove any blocks that may impede your spiritual or psychological or even physical development as a human being. Now, it is a positive form of magic, and it is not a curse unless you are harming somebody or intend to harm somebody with the spell you are doing. So, always remember the Wiccan read. Always ask yourself before you start a spell, am I harming myself or am I harming somebody else? If the answer is even a maybe, don't do the spell. Now, next week is week 33, and that is magical creatures. We will be learning all about different types of magical creatures, such as Pegasuses and dragons, different kinds of creatures in various different tales in mythology that are spread across paganism. But your activity for this week, if you have a bad habit, or an addiction, or you even are getting out of a bad relationship and you want to remove that negative feeling or those thoughts that you keep on dwelling on that you feel is no longer beneficial to you, perform a banishing or binding spell if needed. Remember, that's only if you do need it. Now, until next time, blessed be.